Will the Dark Knight be able to uncover the even darker secrets at the center of Ark M? Only if he can escape the icy clutches of Mr. Freeze. First, what'll happen next? Well, let's hop into the pages of Absolute Batman issue number 8 and find out together, shall we? So then, as we rejoin the comic, Batman is being dragged off by the new and improved Mr. Freeze. Now, instead of a sad guy in an ice suit, now he's an absolutely nightmarish frost zombie, whose extremities are all black as if via frostbite. Now, Victor Freeze Jr. could very easily kill Bruce for attempting to uncover what exactly is going on here at Ark M, but instead he decides to play with his food a little bit, freezing Bruce alive in one of his cryogenic chambers. In fact, as Bruce discovers, he's not actually alone here in Deep Freeze either. It seems that some of the city's richest and most powerful all came to Victor Jr. looking to cheat death or turn back the clock. Oh, Mr. Freeze gave them exactly what they paid for, the old-fashioned Walt Disney treatment. Little did any of them know, though, just how truly horrifying and painful the process is. Not just the regular whole "you're getting hypothermia on crack" thing, but also the fact that you will be stuck there for decades with your worst memories. The type of thing that could easily drive a person mad. I mean, it certainly happened to Victor, and Bruce's own mental capacity is tested, as he ends up reliving the fallout he had with his friends from Crime Alley in the previous issue. Again, if you'll remember, his argument with his old childhood fellows came really heated once the subject of Batman is broached. Here's the thing, though, as we find out in the rest of the conversation, Croc, Harvey, and Ozzy aren't actually mad at Bruce for being Batman, or even not about telling them he had a double life. No, what they were really mad about is that they fear that Bruce's work as Batman may be some sort of highly elaborate death wish, born out of a sense of survivor's guilt following that horrible day at the zoo. In fact, it seems that the whole Crime Alley crew are actually kinda experts when it comes to trauma and survivor's guilt, as they've seen all of this before in the life of their other friend, Matches Malone. You see, get this. On the day Thomas Wayne was murdered by Joe Chill during that mass shooting, he actually left the safety of their hidey hole to go and get young Matches back. And the knowledge that Thomas might very well have lived if he didn't bother to go and save Matches' life, well, it kinda ruined him as a person. It was after that he started getting his trademark reckless streak, taking chances, taking any dare just so he could tempt fate, feeling that his own life wasn't worth it. Of course, in reality, that couldn't be further from the truth. Match's friends loved him, they cared about him, just like they care about Bruce. They don't want him to throw it all away on some sort of crazy crusade. They say that dying isn't what made his father Thomas a hero, it's living the way he did that made him a hero. And as a nice little exclamation point to this whole story, we see that the Crime Alley crew has actually set up a whole graffiti memorial to Matches. And when we finally see it in all its glory, the light ends up actually illuminating a scene that up until now has been done entirely in silhouette. Visual storytelling, you love to see it. This reminiscence of things past proves to be just enough to give Bruce the strength to power through the cryogenic freezing and escape his bonds. Batman even gets the chance to crash Mr. Freeze having a conversation with his benefactor. Yeah, Victor might be running the day-to-day operations of the prison, but he's not actually the one in charge. He has, however, been given a job to do, and that is reawaken an ancient virus hidden deep within one of the polar ice caps and use it to infect the rest of Gotham via an artificial snowfall. Naturally, Batman refuses to let that happen and ends up giving it his all in a fight against Mr. Freeze, which is a real uphill battle considering that he's still dealing with the effects of hypothermia. Also, while this new Mr. Freeze might look like a stick figure, Batman notes that all of that ice has seeped into his muscle tissue, actually making him a lot stronger than he looks. And if all that wasn't bad enough either, Mr. Freeze decides to wake up some of the rich ice zombies in his care to rush Batman. Thankfully, though, these guys were sick and dying before they went into the deep freeze, meaning Batman barely has to touch them to turn them into dust again. It's right around here, too, something rather interesting happens for a Batman story, and that is, well, he doesn't win the fight. He gets beaten and is forced to make a tactical withdrawal. Oh, it's not a total loss on Bruce's part. He managed to learn a lot of the evils that are happening within Ark M. And he even tries to phone up his friend Croc to warn him about the toxic snowfall. Unfortunately, as Waylon returns to his gym that night, he ends up getting jumped by a group of G-men who kidnap him, saying that he has the perfect stats for their next big experiment. That doesn't sound good as the comic comes to a close. And so that was Absolute Absolute Batman issue number 8, everybody, and overall I thought this one was another incredibly fun, incredibly interesting, incredibly fresh take on the Batman mythos, and one that also just so happens to be wrapped up in a breezy comic book read. I said it once before, but it bears repeating. I really love what Scott Snyder and company have managed to do here with the Crime Alley crew. I really love this idea of Batman having old friends that he can actually lean on and learn from. This issue, too, also really showcases the idea that they're not just friends, but they're all actually trauma bonded because of what Joe Chill and Thomas Wayne did that day at the zoo. I think a sense of survivor's guilt has always been a little core to Batman's character, and I love the idea that this version of Bruce is actually trying to get that out of the way fairly early on. And now, even in death, Bruce's friend Matches is trying to teach him a lesson to not let his life be ruined by the sense of guilt. It's not his fault that his science project won him and his class that zoo trip, just like it's not Match's fault that Thomas decided to come back out to try and save him. It's all great stuff, and it gets even better when you juxtapose with this new Victor Freeze Jr., who literally froze his parents in ice so he never had to actually deal with any of the negative feelings regarding their loss. You know, can't feel survivor's guilt if you never let anyone die, even if it causes them a horrible, blinding pain, don't you know? Another big factor of this new Absolute universe is getting to see superheroes on the back foot, and no more do I think that's more apparent here in this issue. Batman risks it all and still kinda ends up losing. Mr. Freeze is just too strong, too weird, and too otherworldly, and if Batman wants to beat him, he's going to have to completely change up his tactics once again. Overall, I would give this one another very strong 8.5 out of 10. Great stuff, and I cannot wait to see where the story goes from here, especially because I know next up we're going to be getting Bane. Hey there everyone, it's your pal Cape Joel again, and if you're seeing my face right now, that means you watched to the end of the video, and I'll always be grateful for that. Retention helps in this crazy YouTube game, and so does becoming a patron. If you head on down to the description, you can find a link to my Patreon page. Recently just redid all the tiers, a lot of cool stuff offering up there, exclusive commentaries, exclusive polls, behind the scenes concept art for Capes and Quest. That's the brand new D&D show I've started soon. Never been a better time to become a patron. You can become a patron for as little as $1 a month and help the channel grow and, you know, help me continue to deliver content like what you just saw. So I want to thank you all, and I will see you again next time. Bye-bye.